How does freelancing work? Where do I find my first freelancing client? How do I market myself as a freelancer? How do I know what services to sell? How do I know how I should price myself? In this video, we're gonna answer all of those questions as well as go through the exact checklist that took me to selling entire websites for pretty much no money at all the way up to charging $6,000 plus per project and having my freelancing income slowly catch up and actually surpass my tech salary. This video will be the guide that you need to start freelancing this year so that you can have more flexibility in your schedule, work on projects that inspire you, and maybe even travel while you work. Doesn't that sound nice? We're gonna rewind and start at step 0, which is where you should start if you are just thinking about freelancing for the first time. And that step is finding your freelancing niche. You may already have some sort of a job in mind based on the skills that you currently have, but I wanna challenge you to think about this in a different way. Instead of thinking about what skills you have to offer to people, start thinking about it as what problems can I solve for business owners. You wanna essentially get to that point where you can have a really clear statement about exactly how you help people. And that statement should read, I help X, which is going to be your target audience, do Y, which is going to be the problem that you're solving, so that they can do Z, which is going to be the perceived outcome or benefit of you helping them do Y. In marketing, whenever you are drafting a new plan or creating a new campaign, you always want to start with the target audience and their pain points. By doing so, you are essentially ensuring that you will have a client base and there are going to be willing, paying customers for what you're trying to sell. When you're thinking about businesses that you can help, you can divide them into the size of business as well as their pain points. So it's going to be really different when you're helping a small business owner versus a mid-sized business, and then also compared to a large enterprise company. The problems may sometimes be the same, but the amount of work and the type of work that you're going to be doing is going to differ. Some common problems that business owners face are they're not making as much money as they're hoping for, they don't have time to do social media, they are not a good writer, so they're not writing blog posts for themselves, they don't know how to properly create an email drip campaign for their email newsletter, they don't even know how to build an email newsletter or start an audience. Or it could even be as simple as them not having time to answer their emails or schedule in their appointments or talk to their staff. Take the problems, match them to the skills that you have, and then I want you to actually write out the sentences of how you're helping people, because ultimately when you do create your freelancing profile or start to market yourself, that main USP or unique selling proposition is going to help you tremendously. So for example, if you're a copywriter, your sentence can be, I help small business owners write copy for their websites to improve their conversion rate. Now, I'm not saying the niches that you pick at this step are going to be the niches that you stick with forever. Right now, we're just trying to figure out what problems you can solve for business owners, and you can actually pick and choose a couple of different niches that you might fit well in. The point here though is that you want to get specific about what exactly you can help people achieve so that it'll actually make your life easier to decide later what it is you want to stick with doing. After we figured out your freelancing niche, we can move on to step 1, which is going to be defining your business goals and figuring out your business plan. I think oftentimes people forget that when you are freelancing, you are self-employed. You are an entrepreneur, meaning you are essentially starting a business. And by creating a strong foundation for your business right from the get-go, it will make your life so much easier as you continue to grow and gain more clients. Business plans are really important because it helps the entrepreneur figure out the specific steps that it's going to take them to get from their starting point all the way up to great success. There's this quote that I really like that says, do not go fast in the wrong direction. And your business plan and setting business goals is what's going to help prevent that. I know that can sound a little bit intimidating, but I'm not asking you to go out and create a 30-page detailed financial, marketing, and business plan for this business, but you should at least start with a one-pager that details a summary of what you're trying to achieve with your business. So some common questions that you can ask yourself yourself, what problems are you solving and what does your business do? You would have figured that out in step 0. Who are your competitors? Who is your target market? What are the steps that you need to do to get started? And what marketing channels do you want to use when you do start to market yourself? If you're looking for a really easy way to build out this one-pager business plan, or you're looking for other templates that are going to help guide the direction of your freelancing business, I really like using HubSpot's free resources. I actually used one of their specific business plan templates when I was first building out my freelancer business, and it really helped ask all of the critical questions that I needed to answer to make sure that I was effectively but also efficiently starting and building out my business. It does actually include space for you to actually think about all the important aspects of your business that you need to consider, like your implementation plan, your marketing plan, and even your financial summary. It even comes in multiple formats, so whether you want to use it as a doc or as a PDF, they have you covered. I've gone ahead and linked that exact one-pager template in the description box below, so if you want to check that out and use it for your freelancer business, you can do that. I personally found it super helpful with guiding my thoughts and how I position my business, so I know that it's going to help you as well. So huge thank you to HubSpot for creating these amazing free resources, but also for being the sponsor of today's video. Once you figured out your niche and started planning out your business, it's also time to set some actionable steps and goals for the business. At this point, I like to create a really simple task list that are essentially going to be building a chain of yeses, meaning they are things that I know I need to do and that kind of are easy to do so that I can start building the confidence in myself to know that I can actually accomplish the things that I need to do to build out a freelancer business. So some easy tasks that you can add to the task list right off the bat are creating a portfolio and adding 3 examples of work that you've done, creating a list of 10 warm leads from your personal network that you can start reaching out to tomorrow, and creating a list of 20 cold leads that you can start outreaching soon as well. That actually kind of segues into step 2 really perfectly, which is to start creating your portfolio. The most important thing that I want you to remember as you're thinking about creating your portfolio is that it does not have to be perfect. We are not aiming for perfection or complication. We are aiming for simple, minimal, and gets the job done. It can be so easy to get caught up with this step. I have known so many freelancers who still do not have a portfolio website because they are just so caught up about getting the branding and the colors and the images and everything about it perfect. But the question to ask yourself here is it more effective for me to have a perfect portfolio a year from now, or is it better for me to have a live and online portfolio right now that I can start showing to leads? My best tip for you at this point is to just start with a template. I can promise you nobody cares about how beautiful your portfolio is more than you will. What they really care about, and what really is the main purpose of having a portfolio, is that you have good work to show. If you want to simplify it even further and not even start with a website, you can start with an Instagram profile or posting your work on LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok or even Pinterest. Just pick a platform and start gathering your work and posting it online so that it is visible in one place for your potential clients to see. My other best tips for building out your portfolio is to make sure that you are thinking about the perceived value of your work. And what I mean by that is to actually think about how you can make your work seem more valuable than it actually is to a potential customer. There are several different techniques that can help with this. First, you can try to show them that this is what they need. The way that I like to use this first strategy is to actually create a separate landing page showing only my past work that is related to that specific client, and I'll even go as far as writing the case study targeted towards the problems that I know that specific client is trying to solve. Another strategy is simply by showing proof that other people have enjoyed your work, so testimonials. If you're able to get testimonials from your past clients, that's great. Or if you're just starting out, I would even ask your past employers or your friends and classmates to give you more of a character testimonial so that at least you have something to show on your portfolio that shows that you've worked well with other people. You can also increase the perceived value of your work by showing showing the quantifiable results that your work has brought. So think numbers, analytics, stats. If you have built a website for a client in the past, then show the traffic numbers that have increased since they implemented the new design. And this is a really great step to keep in your mind as you work on future projects as well. The more stats and results that you can get that show like that quantifiable outcome, the more valuable your work will seem on your portfolio. Once you have a simple portfolio finished, we're moving on to step 3, which is time to do your outreach. As I mentioned earlier, you should create 2 lists. You should create a list of warm leads as well as a list of cold leads. And what that really means is just that warm leads are people who are more likely to buy or want to purchase your services. So these could be people from your network, people you have worked with in the past. And then cold leads are more so strangers and people who aren't really familiar with you or what you do. When you're creating your warm outreach list, you can think about family members, friends, people in your professional network, people you have gone to school with, maybe business owners that you've worked with, or asking those business owners for referrals. If you're really hungry to become a freelancer, I would even post it on your social media and just saying, hey, I am a freelancer now and these are the services that I provide, or specifically, these are the problems that I can solve for business owners. If anyone at all needs any help, let me know. When you're thinking about your cold outreach list, this can be a little bit more difficult, but what I recommend is actually just going through Instagram and looking at business accounts or small businesses or businesses of any size that you think could benefit from your skills and the services that you provide. You can also go onto Google Maps and look up specific industries or businesses in your area. So for example, if I am planning to do more graphic design work specifically for cafes, helping them design menus to create a better user experience in stores, then I would look up every single cafe that's in my city, look at what they already have for their branding and graphic design, and seeing if there are any holes or problems that I can solve for with what I do. When you're just starting out with your freelancing career, it's honestly not such a bad thing to just offer your services for free. The issue that you have right now is that you have done no previous work and have not worked with previous clients. So you might have nothing specific to show on your portfolio. By offering your services for free or at a really minimal rate, at least you'll be able to start bringing in clients and start working with clients and actually solving for some of those problems that you brainstormed in step 0. This is not only going to give you experience working with the client, doing the actual job, it'll also give you stuff to add to your portfolio, and it'll show you where your strengths and weaknesses are right now as a freelancer so you know where you can improve. Now, we can't have a freelancer guide without talking about how to price yourself. This can be a bit of a controversial topic because some people will say never do free work, always make sure that you're being paid fairly, but my belief is that if you are just starting out, what's more important than getting that first $1 or $100 or $1,000 is actually getting the relevant experience that you need to then increase your sales in the future. Now, I'm not saying that we're discounting your worth, but we are essentially just placing more value right now on building your portfolio and building your reputation. Both things that are actually going to help you charge more money once you get the ball rolling. By offering your services for free or at a minimal charge, you are gaining that experience, and that is going to give you the leverage for you to use that experience to give yourself a raise with each client that you work with. So maybe the first client, you charge them nothing, you get the experience, and then you can show your second client and be like, hey, this is the work that I did for the first client. Here's a testimonial of them loving it. I actually charge $100 for this type of project. And then the next project, you can charge $500 for that same project. Now, if you're not starting at 0 and you do have work to show in your portfolio, but you're just trying to figure out how much you should charge yourself in a new niche or how much more you can charge yourself, it's really important to just look at the industry standard. So I like to look at how much other freelancers are charging based on how much experience they have, as well as actually how much people are getting paid at full salaried jobs that provide that same service. And the reason that I like to look at the salaries as as well, like for a full-time employee, is because that actually tells you and gives you a baseline of what companies are willing to pay someone full-time to solve that problem. Now, as a freelancer, I think there's two strategies that you can take when you're basing your rate on a salary. You can either charge slightly below the salary so that it becomes really, really worth it for the business owner to hire you over someone full-time, or you can actually charge a little bit more than the salary, because if you think about it, as a freelancer, you have to pay for your own taxes, your own medical plan. There's just a lot more fees for you as a freelancer than there would be if you were a full-time employee. So if you know that the business is already willing to pay X amount for a full-time employee, charging a little bit more still makes sense for them because they are paying a lot less fees for you as a contractor than for a full-time employee. When you're looking at the industry standard, I want you to get really specific with your Google searches. So actually search up how much do graphic designers with 1 year of experience earn as a freelancer. You can also go onto marketplaces like Upwork or Fiverr to see how much freelancers are charging on those platforms, and try to tap into your network and ask freelancers in your specific city how much they charge for their services, because honestly, the rate that you charge as a freelancer is pretty standard across the board, but can also differ from city to city. So whether you are living in a big booming metro city like LA or New York, or you're living in a smaller city, that rate actually might be slightly different. When you're thinking about your rate, you should also think about the method of charging that you want to do. So do you want to charge by hourly? Do you want to charge by project? Or do you want to charge a retainer? There are pros and cons to each of the different ways of charging. So hourly is a great place to start when you have no idea how much you want to charge per project yet. But I honestly don't recommend freelancers to stay at that hourly rate unless you are a consultant. Project-based charging, on the other hand, works really great for long-term or larger projects, because if you are a really great freelancer, it might actually only take you 3 hours to do the same amount of work it takes someone else to do in a week. So instead of charging less, now that you're better, when you charge by project, you can actually charge more for what the actual value of the work is. And then to me personally, the most ideal way that you should price yourself is just by retainer. Retainers are essentially going to become a steady stream of income for you. It means that this client trusts you enough that they want to work with you month after month after month for a specified length of time. So you can do a 6-month retainer or a year-long retainer and dictate exactly how much you want to be paid every single month. Your goal as a freelancer is to pick the method that is going to be the most profitable for you. But when you are first starting out, it is going to be the easiest to charge hourly because you have yet to build up your reputation and your trust in the industry from your clients. So as a freelancer, how can we actually start getting people to trust us and start building these beautiful client relationships? The first step to actually getting that client relationship going is by perfecting your onboarding process. Like with any industry, customer experience is going to be key as a freelancer. The onboarding process is your client's first official working impression of you, and you want to make sure that it reflects your professionalism, your way of work, and really shows off that you are going to be the best freelancer that they are ever going to work with. When you're thinking about your onboarding flow, some things to consider are: how will you communicate? Will that be through Slack or iMessage or WhatsApp? How will you meet? Is it going to be in person, on Zoom, on Google Hangouts? Where are you going to keep your meeting notes so that both of you can see it? Where are you going to keep the progress of your work? Because visibility is key. Visibility is what builds transparency, and transparency is what's going to help build trust between you and your client. How will you hand in your work? Will you use a tool like Google Drive or WeTransfer or Playbook? Or are you just going to simply email it or message it to them? How will you invoice? What your payment terms are? How you would like to get paid? Is that going to be through Wise or a bank transfer or PayPal? Put all of these details in an onboarding doc as well as your contract. I know this sounds like a lot and probably pretty complicated, but by creating this level of organization right from the get-go, it's actually making your life easier and keeping your business simpler, because then you will have a repeatable workflow for every client that you work with. Lastly, we are on step 6, which is very simply to just keep going. Continue to work on those customer relationships. Try to make standalone projects into long-term ones. So if you are giving a really great experience to your customer, suggest to them, hey, if you are enjoying my work, would you consider signing on for a retainer or keeping my services for future use as well? If for any reason, like budgetary reasons, for example, your client isn't able to keep you on long-term, then with every client that leaves you a good testimonial, make sure you ask them for a referral, because chances are they probably know other business owners who can use your services as well. Just like how it's important to onboard them, it's important to offboard them as well. And when you are offboarding them, ask them for testimonials, ask them for referrals, and really just leave a great lasting impression so that you're the first freelancer they think to call when they need work done again. You should also continue to grow yourself as a freelancer with every project by continuing to upskill. Whether that's upskilling in the specific niche that you are currently in, or upskilling so that you can expand your services to have more coverage for your clients. I want you to essentially see using every client project as an experiment to improve for the next one. And you should start making really small iterations and changes and improvements every time you work on a project, whether that's on your onboarding or how you hand in work or how you communicate or how you design. I hope this answers all of your questions about how to start out as a freelancer. And by following these exact steps that I listed out is how I was able to essentially replace my full-time salary with my freelancer income. There are so many amazing things that can come out of being self-employed and being a freelancer, and it really opens up your schedule to so many more opportunities and more chances for you to have free time to do what you love. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you go and check out this video next, where I talk about how to unlock your creative genius and how anyone can start being more creative today. But that's it. If you have any more questions about becoming a freelancer, make sure to leave them in the comments down below, or join our lovely Discord server where there are marketers and creators and freelancers and creatives all gathered to chat about life. Other than that, I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!